First of all, so much. You know, every day I learn more and more about Oprah, because just when you think you know everything about her, you learn so much more. And your life story, your achievements, the effect you had on the world, I can't tell you. Like my mother and I were welling up with tears listening to you speak, because this in itself was an achievement for us to know that you cared about what we care about. So thank you so much for being here. So I would like to introduce to you the woman who made me who I am today. She is who I steal all my style tips from. She's the most kind-hearted, loving, beautiful person, and I say that really with no hyperbole, because I quite often think I see a halo around my mother's head when she walks around. She is the sole reason that I am here today. She has always believed in me. She has always been my supporter, and she makes me want to inject that sense of family and support into the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my mother, Cynthia.
Thank you to my darling daughter for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us today. It means so much to us. It is snowing outside and it is beautiful outside, but it is sunny inside, and it is even more beautiful inside because we're launching the foundation. And the youth that are here today, the youth that are listening, you are the leaders of our future. And we are so thrilled to have you here with us to celebrate this wonderful occasion. It just means so much. I don't want to take much time. I just want to thank everyone for being here. And now it is my great honor to introduce the Honorable Professor Charles Ogletree, who will be presiding over the testimony that you will hear this afternoon. I also, very briefly, I want to thank Harvard so much for having us in this wonderful institution, in this incredible Sanders Hall, to celebrate this occasion. The Berkman Center here for Internet and Society has been a beacon of light for us in terms of guiding us and grounding our work and our foundation in tremendous amount of research. We appreciate that very much. I'd like to thank Dean Kathy McCartney. It started with she and I basically having a discussion about maybe having a little event here, at Harvard, and it turned into this. And I sincerely want to thank Miss Oprah Winfrey for believing in us and for being part of this launch. So with that, the Honorable Professor Charles Ogletree. Oh,
how are you?
Thank you.
Such a pleasure. Good evening. It's such an honor to be here today at this historic event with the great Oprah Winfrey and with Lady Gaga and her mother as well. And I have 5 terrific people who are going to be asking questions in a court-type setting of Lady Gaga. She's going to be on trial. She needs many lawyers. But if she doesn't have any, I think she'll do very well herself. Let me first introduce the great panelists coming here today. First, I want to introduce the Secretary of Health and Human Services for the United States of America, Kathleen Sebelius.
How are you?
Thank you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Very pleased to have with us today the great spiritual leader and a great scholar. Please welcome Dr. Deepak Chopra. Thank you. We're very pleased to have someone who represents what this is all about, a young woman who's done an incredible job. She's very shy, very nervous. Show her some love. Please welcome Alyssa Rodemeyer. And to give us some of the sense of the psychological impact of all this talk that we're going to have today, please welcome Professor Sue Swearer. And finally, very, very pleased to invite to the stage a proud parent and a great person who understands and symbolizes all this. Please welcome David Burtka. And now what I'd like to do is to make sure that we're in the proper spirit for this, and so the court's in session. Lady Gaga, welcome. Let me ask the first question if I can.
I have no attorney today, so.
I'm sorry, you're just in trouble.
Do I have to oath?
We'll do this without the oath, just in case you go a little far
Okay.
afield, right?
Okay.
But tell us what you're trying to do, empowering youth and the whole idea of dealing with bravery. What is the goal of Born This Way?
The goal of the Born This Way Foundation is to challenge meanness and cruelty by inspiring young people to create a support system in their respective communities. So what this is all about is saying the power is in your hands. How can we come together with the greatest experts in the world, you, and come up with all of the amazing ways that we can inject love, acceptance, and tolerance into culture.
What's your sense in terms of your own background, having gone through this as a victim of violence yourself? What's your sense about how that message is going to be impacted by other people as well?
Well, one of the most important things that I wanted to bring up today is that there really is sort of a focus on the victim, right? But what I want to point out today, even though this is not an anti-bullying charity, is that the victim and the bully are on the same playing field. We're dealing in both senses with someone who's going through a tremendous amount of mental turmoil. And how do we say you are both equal members of society, you are both equal members of culture? How do we not just save the victim, but also save the bully? How do we prevent the tragedies before they happen? I want the Born This Way Foundation, through its 3 pillars of skills, safety, and opportunity, to come up with the greatest ways that we can to empower youth all over the world. And the first empowered youth is Alyssa.
Well, I want to start this session as we can. Alyssa, you want to ask the first question to Lady Gaga?
Okay. Lady Gaga, most of these kids are really self-conscious, and your goal is to empower youth. How can you help change the way kids feel about themselves? Because self-consciousness is something that's really deep-rooted.
It is really deep-rooted, and you know what? It's so interesting that you asked me that, because I can't tell you, that's probably the most frequently asked question that I get all the time from lots of young people. And the problem is that we don't have the answer. The answer to the question is, how do we create a support system around every single human being that can help you or help anyone build confidence in themselves by having friends, family, teachers that can really, really focus on the community and say, this person needs help, this person needs love, this person needs acceptance, this person needs tolerance. How can we foster one another's individuality? So it's a very big overarching issue. It's not as simple as saying, you know, be yourself, love who you are, which is something that I've learned because I toot that at my shows all the time, right? But it's not that simple. The answer is we have to work from the ground up and create a climate and an environment in schools where someone that feels self-conscious has someone walk up to them in the middle of class and say, you know, I really liked your essay. Little things like that, little acts of kindness, these are the things that are going to change culture.
Okay, now my next question kind of has two different parts. With all due respect, what makes you think you have all the answers to change such a big problem? And how would you like me, as a young person and the voice of the youth, to make a difference? It's really hard to be brave, as you know.
It is hard to be brave. And the answer is I don't have all these answers. In fact, I have very few. I'm someone that is very passionate, and what I would like for you to do is be just one of many examples. I would like for there to be many of you, Alyssa. I wish there were hundreds of you. You're a wonderful, wonderful girl, and my dream in the future would be to have someone like Alyssa in every school around the country, someone who can be an ambassador for the Born This Way Foundation, if you will. Someone that really monitors the climate of the school and can be a litmus test for violence, bullying, kindness, love, acceptance.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. Thank you, Lady Gaga. Dr. Chopra, you want to give us some questions you want to ask Lady Gaga about from the spiritual point of view? Would you like to know from her?
Well, do you think it's possible to move in the direction of a peaceful, just, sustainable, healthy, and happier world? And if so, what would it take?
You can answer any part of that.
Yes, I do believe it's possible, and I think it will take very little.
Well, it looks like you obviously see yourself as a global leader, so...
Well, this is, you know, I know you want me to see myself as a global leader because I know you. I would like for everyone to see themselves as global leaders. I suppose that would be what I mean when I say you are all born superstars. When I say that it takes very little to change the world, I really mean that. I believe that if each one of us just transformed one small bit of ourselves to be a bit kinder, a bit more loving, a bit more tolerant of even the most minuscule thing, I believe it will be quite easy to change the world. The only problem is there's so damn many of us.
Thank you. Dr. Swear, you've done a lot of work on the psychology of some of these incidents. Questions you have for Lady Gaga?
Lady Gaga, as a licensed psychologist on this panel, it's really important for me that everybody here realizes the emotional turmoil that victims of bullying face, as well as the turmoil of those kids who are doing the bullying. I'd like to know from a psychological perspective, from a behavioral health perspective, from just a human perspective, do you think you're going to change the culture where kids are so cruel and mean sometimes that they often just aren't comfortable with being who they were born to be?
I don't think I'm going to, certainly. You know, I would say that over time, what I would like to do, working with someone like yourself and working with all of the experts that I've become so excited to hear from, that I'm hoping that the